We can do that. That's fine. What she also did was she labeled the text because she knows she read them already, and she labeled them, one is fiction and one is nonfiction. So she already knows going into this that these are two different genres, so they have two different goals in what they're trying to help us understand. What did you write for understanding? This is a very important key that I noticed from us. Some of us sort of just had it circled but didn't write anything. What did you put for understanding? Try to talk with your partner. What should have been written for understanding? Go.
That's a lot. Should we get it?
3, 2, 1, 0. Josiah's tracking forward, she's silent. DeAndre's tracking forward, he's silent. What did you put, or what should you have put under understanding? Track Jacory. Morgan's tracking Jacory. Jadore's tracking Jacory. What did you put?
I put for understanding, like, for nonfiction, I put, like, the sentence for nonfiction, understanding.
Pause. That's one that pauses the sounds. Keep going, Jacory. We're good.
For understanding, I put, like, information, and for my nonfiction understanding, I put, like, their experience or their setting of what it was actually like.
So, academic achievement, because we sort of went over this week. Our focus was why, or what's the difference between nonfiction text and fiction text and what the author is trying to do. We mentioned that nonfiction texts are usually informational, and for the most part, we're tending to get facts from those. That's how we use them, generally. And then, when we're reading fiction text, we're usually getting the experience. So what we're doing with this is we've identified the genres. We've identified that we're trying to figure out what those genres are trying to teach us about. And then the topic is the gold rush. We're trying to find the differences. Turn to the next page silently. You'll notice we read this text. This is text 1. It's always there. Just on the next text silently.
Okay, what's time? That's the next text.
As you read, we need to see a genre code. You've already annotated these twice. So now we're just collecting evidence. We need to find 2 to 3 pieces of evidence from each that either show about experience or about getting facts. So genre codes, 2 to 3 pieces of evidence from each text, because that's what we need for our outline. What are we doing? Serena, what are we doing as we read? Track Serena. Alan's tracking Serena. What are we doing?
We're getting 2 pieces of evidence from both sides. We have to label the genres and what we're looking for. And we have to label the evidence for either experience or fact.
That was a lot. Genre, 2 to 3 pieces of evidence per text. Label them as experience or as a fact. Jump straight in. We're going to have 5 minutes for the first text. Go. We're coming around to check that you have 1 piece of evidence labeled in the next 30 seconds. Chloe jumps straight in. She knows the faster she gets this done, the quicker she can get to her outline.
Michaela has already identified the genre at the top of the page.
Kylie has the genre code written. She knows the faster she gets this done, the faster she gets her outline. Jarrell asked a really good question. If we've already read it, if you already annotated it, do we have to reread the entire thing? No, you can skim it. Andre looked back at the perspective, whether or not it's first person or third person, to remind himself, is this a fiction or is this a nonfiction? Team, you put your pens down, you have your hands free, track the board or your page. So Jaden's pen is down. DeAndre's hands are free. Alright, pen, one. Alright, pen, one, thank you. Cool. Let's clarify something very quickly. What's the genre of text one? What's the genre of text one? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Jaden, what's the genre for text one? Fiction. What type of fiction would be just a little bit more specific? Jarrell? What? Realistic fiction. So, when we read fictions, what is the goal usually of a fiction text? What are they trying to teach the reader about? MD. Roll it someone. Roll it someone without their hand raised. Kind of really good.
A realistic fiction, it tells you about, like, real
we went over this before we started. We said this in our type of prompt. We're either looking for one thing or the other. What is it? Experiences. So we're looking for the experience of the gold mine or the gold rush. So we know we're looking for evidence that shows us experiences. Once you have this range, put your pen down to track me, because I want to stamp home this point really quickly. Chloe's tracking me. Her pen is down. DeAndre's tracking me. His pen is down. So, strong writers, after they get a prompt, after they attack the prompt, after they start the text, which you've done, they're not just finding any piece of evidence that works. They're trying to find the best piece of evidence so that they can then write their assertions and their thesis, because all those pieces of evidence then tie to the task or the prompt. We should be looking for pieces of evidence that give us the experience of going through the gold rush. On top of that, what do fiction authors use to give you the experience? What do they use? Decide, what do they use?
They use descriptive language.
Which is an example of what? Yeah, so we need to find 2 to 3 examples of authors' tools that show the experience. I want to be more specific for us so we can find that best evidence. This could be descriptive language. This could be first-person perspective. It could be setting, conflict. We know these things. We've looked at them before. So I'm going to put 5 more minutes on the clock. If you find 2 to 3 pieces of evidence that show authors' tools that give us the experience of the gold rush, then you can move on to the second text, which we're then changing because we're looking for facts and we're looking for nonfiction author tools. So jump in. Ms. Charles and I are coming around and check your evidence and tell you this is best evidence. This evidence is okay. Eyes in. Pens moving. Go.
Amy is underlining key
1 minute and 40 seconds left to finish text 1 and then move on to text 2. Team, pens down, track the board. Serena's pen is down. Anaya's pen is down. Morgan's tracking the board. I want to give you an exemplar of what it should look like when you've identified a piece of evidence. So Serena found the dogs are like so many ravenous wolves. She labeled it as descriptive language. Why did you label it as descriptive language?
Because it describes the experience of how the dog.
She labeled it. She wrote a note for herself. And now she's ready to write that down in her outline, which she's doing on her own. Just that. Now, we're going to go to text 2. We know text 2 is a nonfiction, and so there's different authors' tools that we're looking for because what are nonfiction texts usually used for the most part? Jador, what are they used for? Who can remind us of some authors' tools that nonfiction texts use? Turn and talk. What are some authors' tools that nonfiction texts use? Go. Dana's silently tracking the board. Anya's silently tracking the board. Morgan's silently tracking the board. What are some authors' tools used for nonfiction text? Drag DeAndre. What's one? What? Statistics. What else are used? Decide.
Tables, captions, subheadings.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, diagrams. What you said?
Yep, expert opinion. So, team, we're looking now for exactly that. Statistics, tables, expert opinions that show the facts, the basic information maybe the subheaders. We did this work. Find 2 to 3 examples, label them. I'm only going to give us 3 minutes for this one. We're going to come around and check what you got. Go. If you finish early, you are moving on to your outline.